Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you in 1995. Mansfield, Texas, located just outside Fort Worth, was a town with a population of approximately 8,000. However, during this period, the city was facing growing problems similar to those plaguing nearby Fort Worth, including gang and drug-related crimes. One teenager growing up in Mansfield in 1995 was Adrianne Jessica Jones. Adrianne Jessica Jones was a remarkable young woman who left a mark on her community. At 16, she captivated the hearts of everyone around her with her beauty and exceptional qualities. Her dedication to her studies, strong work ethic, and passion for sports made her a role model for many. In 1995, Adrianne Jessica Jones was a 16-year-old junior at Mansfield High School. From the moment she set foot on campus, she instantly became a beloved figure. Her classmates and teachers admired her for her kindness, intelligence, and infectious spirit. Adrianne Jessica Jones thrived academically. She consistently excelled in the classroom, taking advanced honors courses that challenged her to excel. Despite her busy schedule, Adrianne dedicated at least 2 hours of study time each night to ensure her success. Her hard work paid off as she consistently achieved high grades. After graduating from Mansfield High School, Adrianne had big plans to become a vet and help animals. In addition to excelling academically, Adrianne possessed impressive athletic abilities. She was a girls' soccer team member and demonstrated remarkable skill and dedication on the field. However, an unfortunate injury during a game forced her to withdraw from the team temporarily. Instead of losing her passion for sports, she joined the girls' cross-country team. This decision to join the cross-country team allowed Adrianne to maintain an active lifestyle and helped her get into better shape. Adrianne Jessica Jones embraced the new challenge and worked tirelessly to improve her physical fitness. Her determination and dedication paid off as she quickly emerged as a key cross-country team member. While pursuing her academic and athletic endeavors, Adrianne Jessica Jones also managed an impressive workload outside the classroom. In addition to her studies, she worked 20 hours a week at a local fast food restaurant, the Golden Fried Chicken. Adrianne thrived on attention, especially from the teenage boys around Mansfield. One of her closest friends referred to her as a big flirt. She would spend at least 2 hours a day meticulously applying her makeup, ensuring that she looked perfect. Like most teenagers, Adrianne tested her parents' boundaries. Despite her good nature, she had 2 younger brothers, and her parents were particularly protective of her. As Mansfield was undergoing changes and there was more crime in the area, her parents set a strict curfew for her on weekends, a little past 9 p.m., to ensure her safety. If Adrianne informed her parents of her plans, such as visiting a theme park or watching a movie, she had to present them with a ticket stub as proof. Additionally, to prevent her from sneaking out, Adrianne's father decided to nail her bedroom window shut. Although it was not a common occurrence, there were a few times when she left her house in the middle of the night to meet up with her friends. On Sunday, December 3, 1995, Adrianne received special permission from her parents to stay up late in order to have a telephone conversation with her boyfriend, Tracy Smith. Tracy was out of town with his parents for the weekend, but Adrianne was eager to talk to him. However, during the phone call, Adrianne's mother overheard her daughter tell Tracy that there was another call coming in. When Adrianne's mother asked her the caller's identity, Adrianne replied that it was David from her cross-country team. According to Adrianne, David seemed to be upset about something. The following morning, Adrianne's family woke up and got ready for work, as usual. However, Adrianne's mother became concerned when she heard Adrianne's alarm going off in her bedroom. Worried about why Adrianne didn't shut off her alarm, her mom went to check on her. However, when Adrianne's mom entered the bedroom, Adrianne was nowhere to be found, and her bed was still made. It didn't look like anyone had slept in it the night before. Adrianne's mother tried to remain calm when she realized that a 16-year-old daughter had gone missing. Initially, she entertained the possibility that Adrianne had embarked on a morning run, but this notion was quickly discarded upon finding her daughter's running shoes lying on the floor in the bedroom. In the past, Adrianne had occasionally sneaked out of the house in the middle of the night to meet up with friends. However, Adrianne had never stayed out all night before, causing her mother concern. Her parents contacted the police, worried about their daughter, not knowing that miles away, a man had made a gruesome discovery on his farm. At approximately 7 a.m. on Seaton Road in Grand Prairie, Texas, about 10 miles from Mansfield, a man stumbled upon a distressing discovery while walking to his mailbox. He noticed that the gate to his property had been knocked down. The officers wondered if there was any connection to gang violence or drugs, considering the execution-style nature of the killing. After the discovery on the farm of the murdered teenager's body, the Grand Prairie Police took immediate action and sent out a teletype to all area agencies. This teletype contained the basic description of the young girl's body, including her approximate age range, height and weight, and other physical descriptions. The intent was to share this information and raise awareness, hoping another agency might have a missing person matching the victim. In Grand Prairie, it was only a matter of time before the Mansfield Police contacted the Grand Prairie officers. Through their investigation, the Mansfield Police were able to identify the murdered teenager as Adrianne Jones. Once the police identified the deceased teenager in Grand Prairie as Adrianne, the next step was to notify her worried parents about the tragic turn of events. When the police told Adrianne's mother her daughter had been killed, she fell apart. Because Mansfield was a small town, it wasn't long before the news of Adrianne's murder reached her classmates and friends at Mansfield High School, as news of Adrianne's death spread. Throughout the halls, classes were stopped and Adrianne's peers cried with one another. The people of Mansfield were on edge after the discovery of the murdered body of Adrianne Jones in a field. Theories were swirling about what might have led to her tragic death. One prevalent idea was that she was somehow involved in drugs. Others wondered if there was possibly a serial killer lurking in their midst. Adrianne's parents reported to the police the last time they'd seen their daughter. Her mother provided details regarding a phone call Adrianne had with her boyfriend Tracy, as well as another teenager, David, who called in while she was on the phone. According to the mother, one of Adrianne's younger brothers heard the sound of a car engine outside the home sometime after midnight. Upon looking outside, the brother observed a pickup truck leaving the scene. The police were determined to find out who this David was who called Adrianne on the night she was murdered. In an effort to gather more information, they turned to Adrianne's cross-country coach. Adrianne's coach mentioned that there was a team member named David Graham. However, the coach expressed surprise upon learning that David would have been calling Adrianne, as she'd never had any reason to believe that Adrianne and David had interacted. David Graham was an all-American teenager at 17. After seeing his first air show, David told his father he wanted to become an Air Force pilot. From that moment on, he dedicated himself to achieving his dream. At Mansfield High School, David was popular and well-liked by his peers. He had a natural charisma and was always up for a good time. Many girls had caught his eye, but he was taken by a high school senior named Diane Zamora. Diane stood out from the crowd. She shared David's desire to enter the military one day and actively pursued her aspirations. In the days after Adrianne's murder, the police conducted interviews with David Graham. David admitted that he had known Adrianne from their time together on the cross-country team, but he insisted that their relationship had never progressed beyond acquaintances. During the interview, the police questioned David about whether he contacted Adrianne on the night she was killed. He adamantly denied the allegation, stating that he'd been at home studying with his girlfriend, Diane Zamora. The police conducted a thorough investigation of David, considering him as a suspect in the murder of Adrianne. As part of this investigation, they sought information from Adrianne's friends to determine if she'd ever spoken about David. One of her closest friends informed the police that she knew about Adrianne's innermost secrets, but had never discussed David with her. Additionally, when the police accessed Adrianne's phone book, they noticed that David's number was not written down. The discovery further strengthened their belief that David had nothing to do with Adrianne's murder, and they never even offered him a polygraph test. Consequently, the police removed David from their list of suspects. After David, the next suspect police looked into in connection to the murder of Adrianne was her boyfriend, Tracy Smith. However, the police were able to confirm Tracy's alibi as he was out of town with his family on the night of the murder. Additionally, Tracy submitted to and passed a polygraph examination, which further supported his innocence. When Tracy Smith's interview with the police, he provided them with the name of a person who he believed should be investigated in relation to the murder of Adrianne. Tracy stated that on the night of Adrianne's murder, she'd informed him of someone named Brian who had called while they were on the phone. The police initiated an investigation into the identity of Brian. Their investigation revealed that the person in question was a local teenager named Brian McMillian. During the investigation of Brian McMillian, the police made a discovery. They learned that Brian used to work in a pharmacy near a restaurant where Adrianne used to work, and Brian had developed a fascination with Adrianne. Brian would frequently visit the restaurant to catch a glimpse of her. However, Adrianne grew tired of his constant presence and resorted to hiding in the back whenever she saw him coming. The police interviewed Brian McMillian concerning the murder of Adrianne Jones and initially denied any knowledge of her. However, Brian later admitted to knowing her. During the interview, one officer asked Brian if he'd spoken with Adrianne on the night of her murder, to which he claimed not to remember. According to Brian, on the night of the murder, he'd been drinking because he was depressed and lonely. One officer asked Brian if he had visited Adrianne's house the night she was killed, to which he admitted he might have. At the end of the interview, the police officers asked Brian's father if Brian could take a polygraph test, but Brian's father said no. 1 week after Brian's interview with the police, the officers stormed his house armed with guns. It was a decision that was made with careful consideration, as there was uncertainty surrounding whether Brian could be armed. At the time of his arrest, the police had reason to believe that Brian might have a weapon, and they wanted to take all necessary precautions to ensure their safety as well as that of everyone involved. After Brian was arrested for the murder of Adrianne, many individuals came forward to express their support on his behalf. His friends described him as gentle and non-violent. Additionally, Brian's father confirmed that he was at home the entire night that Adrianne was killed and never left the house. Brian spent 3 weeks in jail, including missing Christmas and New Year's, awaiting further investigation and legal proceedings. During this time, the district attorney's office arranged for Brian to take a polygraph test, which he passed with flying colors. With this outcome, the district attorney's office was left with little other evidence to connect Brian to Adrianne's murder and released him from custody. 9 months into the investigation into Adrianne's murder, the police in Mansfield, Texas finally got the break they needed, and it came from Annapolis, Maryland, where Diane Zamora was attending the Naval Academy. According to the officers from the Naval Academy, Diane Zamora had confessed to some of her fellow cadets that back home in Mansfield, Texas, she and her boyfriend David Graham had murdered a girl named Adrianne Jones. The police officers from Mansfield went to Annapolis, Maryland, to interview Diane right away. During the interview, Diane denied making any such admission. However, the Naval Academy decided to suspend her and send her home as the matter was looked into. Because the police couldn't get any information out of Diane, they traveled to Colorado Springs, Colorado, to question David Graham at the Air Force Academy. When the police interviewed David, he said he didn't know why Diane would make up a story about killing Adrianne Jones. However, as the interview progressed, David started to crack and asked to write a statement. In a 4.5-page confession letter, David laid out all the details about he and his girlfriend Diane planned to murder Adrianne Jones. In the letter written by David, he described a cross-country event where he decided to offer to drive Adrianne home. In November 1995, during the ride, they parked in an elementary school parking lot and had intercourse. David admits that he felt a deep sense of guilt after this encounter. Subscribe for more chilling cases.